no one is losing their minds quite yet like Glenn Beck right now, who's apparently, this is the ranch, by the way, that everybody helped him build, where he can, eat prepper pancakes and avoid anybody of the wrong shade who isn't a lobster man like himself. But this is crazy. Biden compares Second Amendment to nuclear weapons in gun control speech. And we know exactly what he's talking about.
But I know what to talk about the most dangerous with the Republic ever, January 6th. And you need nuclear weapons. And I've got people at the AFT work.
This is, by the way, this is him doing his Biden impersonation. This is also him phoning it in.
That's almost what that speech was yesterday.
Almost.
Stu pointed out a really good point.
There were a couple of similarities. One, it was English, and the pacing is kind of slow for you. That would be the thing.
He didn't even move. Didn't move.
Yeah. Glenn, if you go back and you watch the speech on your TV or something, put your hand over his mouth and chin, and there is absolutely no motion other than occasional blinking. There's no facial expressions. He doesn't move. He doesn't sway. He looks like it's a strange way to deliver a speech. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's not how you deliver a speech. Dentures, United States. Like if you're gonna give a speech, I would go straight to. Let's see. Hold on. Get this. I don't know if this will come up. And mute that thing. I gotta find. Give an example of what a really good speech is. Hold on. See if I can find it. It's in here somewhere. Yeah. You want to move.
For the many who desire peace to expel the extremists from their midst. It is time for all civilized nations and people to respond to disagreement with reasoned debate, not violence.
Yeah, reasoned debate, not violence.
It is time for young and moderate voices all across the Middle East to claim for themselves a bright and beautiful future. Today, let us rededicate ourselves to a path of mutual understanding and respect. Let us rethink old assumptions and open our hearts and minds to possible and possibilities.
Yes, both possible and possibilities.
And finally, I ask the leaders of the region, political and religious, Israeli and Palestinian, Jewish and Christian and Muslim, to join us in the noble quest for lasting peace. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Israel. God bless the Palestinians. And God bless the United States. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's how a speech should go. You don't hold still. Biden, nuclear weapons, gun. Let's see. Videos. These are, and by the way, they're all kind of panicking on this.
Own them. And I might add, the Second Amendment from the day it was passed limited the type of people who could own a gun and what type of weapon you could own. You couldn't buy a cannon. Those who say the blood of patriots, and all the stuff about how we're going to have to move against the government. Well, the tree of liberty is not water with the blood of patriots. What's happened is that there never been, if you wanted to think you need to have weapons to take on the government, you need F-15s and maybe some nuclear weapons. The point is that there's always been the ability to limit rational.
He's making the reference about, nice, good luck with your AR-15s against the U.S. government.
Limit the type.
And then he's cutting himself off from going into the full thing.
Weapon that can be owned and who can own it. The last time we had data.
Oh, he's moving. Oh, he's swaying.
This issue of
and he's blinking.
who was purchasing guns was more than 20 years ago. 5% of gun dealers, turns out, in the study we did, showed that 90% of illegal guns were found at the crime scenes sold by 5% of gun dealers. 5% sold 90% of the guns found at crime scenes. And these merchants of death are breaking the law for profit. They're selling guns that are killing innocent people. It's wrong.
Oh, he's moving again.
It's
Oh,
unacceptable.
he swayed. Look at that. He shifted his weight from one foot to the other.
Crack down on those gun dealers.
Sorry, and let's go back to that's the question they're talking about.
Let me tell you, I'm gonna take my kids now, and we're gonna watch that on the record player. That's what I don't have time to read to my kids. I put a phonograph in their room, and we watch that.
By the way, vinyl is back. Got the new Minefield album. It's awesome.
Okay, he couldn't even pronounce cognitive yesterday. But here's what I really enjoyed.
He has a stutter, dipshit.
And is Sarah, do we have the White House spokesperson waiting? Yeah, let me just play what he said about your right to bear arms. Listen to this.
The Second Amendment, from the day it was passed, limited the type of people who could own a gun and what type of weapon you could own. You couldn't buy a cannon. Those who say the blood of patriots, you know, and all the stuff about how we're going to have to move against the government.
You know the thing.
Well, the tree of liberty is not water with the blood of patriots. What's happened is that there never been, if you wanted to think you need to have weapons to take on the government, you need F-15s and maybe some nuclear weapons. The point is that there's always been the ability to limit.
And again, like he's chatting over top of this just because it's desperately not what he wants it to be.
Rationally limit the type of weapon that can be owned and who can own it.
Right, that's why we don't own nukes. That's why we don't have tanks.
Yep, and it's why we don't need bazookas and cannons and why we don't need automatic weapons. That's why. Because we don't need anti-personnel weapons. We need some weapons for self-defense and hunting. That's what he's talking about. And this whole we got to have a Second Amendment for a tyrannical government. I'm going to push back against a tyrannical government. The tree of liberty must be watered with the blood of patriots and tyrants. Yeah, it's not. That might have worked back then. It's not going to work now.
Not modern sporting rifles, Joe. Not sporting.
Modding sporting rifles? I'm sorry, he couldn't pronounce cognitive. Please continue.
Rifles. And by the way, just so you
know, if you're going to make fun of someone's pronunciation of words, or say you have the best words, that's when you get shit on the most when you fuck up when you're talking. Just saying. Because I don't claim to have the best words or claim to have a perfect vocabulary or not to stumble. But if I'm shitting on somebody who's stumbling, it's kind of the pressure's on me to speak well and not mispronounce things directly. And usually I don't have to worry about it because the people I'm mocking when they fuck up talking is not me mocking them how they're talking, but the arrogance of them mocking someone else's speech or saying that they're the best speaker, Trump style.
So you know, the Second Amendment was not made for an outdoorsman sporting guy. There was no sport of shooting really back then. They had to shoot things to eat, but they also had to shoot things that were tyrants.
Cops, cops and soldiers, National Guardsmen. I see what you're saying. Go ahead.
They had to shoot at armies.
British armies.
That were tyrants. And by the way, that's the same kind of nonsense that the King of England said to George Washington and everybody. You're going to have ships and except he said it like this.
Well, you're going to have ships and things while we have tea over here. You're not going to be able to...
How long did it take you to get to a British accent? This is amazing. Theater of the mind. Less.
Tell that to the Taliban that is currently retaking.
By the way, if you haven't donated money for our most recent Taliban, make sure that if you donate today, we have a matching fund. That if you donate 7 Cinnabons, you get 2 matching funds for Cinnabons with extra. You don't get the actual Cinnabons. It's just they pump the smell into your house.
Taking Afghanistan. Tell that to the Taliban, because I don't think they have F-15s. I don't think they have F-22s. They're lucky to have a 22. You know what I'm saying?
No, they're not. No, they're not lucky to have a 22. They have Laws rockets, anti-aircraft missiles. They have machine guns. They have a lot of Russian weapons, especially.
Just a 22.
No. The Taliban is not shooting at U.S. soldiers with 22s, you dipshit.
But, Mr. President, please, hands up, don't nuke. Please, hands up, don't nuke.
Oh, he wrote that down on a note. He thinks it's adorable.
Yesterday was a very important day because, as he said, there are radicals out there that want to destroy the government. No. First of all, I'm not a radical. I'm a constitutionalist.
And no one is afraid of you. At your most armed, Glenn, no one is afraid of you.
I'm an American, a proud American that recognizes the dark sides of our history and the good sides of our history.
You mean like the good sides like January 6th and the dark sides like an infrastructure bipartisan agreement coming out of the White House today?
I believe in the American people. I believe.
Yeah, you just don't believe that certain people are American people. That's always the crucial part.
That all of us, no matter your skin color, how you were born, where you were born.
Whether you're a lobster that's dressed like Colonel Sanders on Safari.
To whom you were born makes no difference. No difference. Each of us are created as individuals, and none of us have to pay for the sins of our father. We have to pay for the sins, our own sins, and believe me, brother, that's enough.
Well, yeah, you're still paying it off. I mean, I would not want to see your karmic tab.
That makes me a radical, then fine. You can label me as one, but that's not who I am.
Yeah, Glenn, you don't go anywhere. Glenn, you have a rotating set to present a view of yourself to the world as a poser for the people that listen to you. You try on images to try and patch up the holes in your marketing scheme. Nobody thinks you're going to show up on January 6th. You're just going to shovel blather into the ears of the people that will. And those people are dangerous radicals, are crazy, do believe you when you say this shit.
And I don't want to overthrow the government. I want an end to the march towards tyranny.
There is no march towards tyranny. I mean, unless you want to talk about like January 6th and those guys storming the Capitol and trying to install the president for another term when he lost. That would be tyranny.
So January 6th
yeah, I don't know what that was either.
Was the most dangerous day. Oh, hang on just a second. We have the spokesperson on now from the White House, from Joe Biden's White House. Hello? Are you there?
Hello.
Oh, this is...
My name is Wilfred. I'm calling from Sun City, Florida.
Biden Youth Outreach Director.
Right, and what is your position again with...
I forgot he started in FM Shock Jock Radio.
The White House?
I am the Director of Youth Outreach.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
For obvious reasons.
Right, sure. So
you were just filling time while they were getting this to work?
You are youthful in that White House.
I'm Generation C.
Generation C?
Yes.
Huh. Okay, so
these bits are so good.
Wilfred.
Slightly
may I
before
call you that, sir?
Generation X, yes.
Right, okay. Wilfred, the speech yesterday, first of all, the president was barely I mean, he couldn't say the word cognitive.
He has a stutter.
Well, cognitive, of course, has several syllables and is very difficult to say,
Okay,
especially
so
when
he-
you're in the
so
middle
he
of
also-
a swallow of Ovaltine.
Right. But he also kept calling the ATF the.
This is, by the way, I want you guys to take this as a good sign that this is how low Glenn Beck has fallen. I don't know if this is his idea of comedy. I don't know if this is just him tickling himself.
AFT.
Yes, the AFT, of course. He also later would call it the TAF, and my favorite, the FAT. That's what I think he should
Right.
call it all the time.
That's what he should call. Okay.
The
All right.
FAT. But I think
But then Glenn would take it personally.
you're highlighting unimportant. You're quibbling here with a very important
quibbling.
and passionate speech by our president.
I don't know how passionate it was, but
Yes, well, he talked about the right to bear arms, and
Right.
the Second
Jesus Christ. Now Glenn's getting bored by his own bit.
Amendment, and I was there when they were talking and discussing that amendment
You were-
initially.
really,
Yes,
I didn't know that.
yes, I remember. I remember looking.
See, old people. Ageism is funny. That's what this is about. Old people. And by the way, Glenn's a traditionalist, by the way, but fuck old people.
Yep. To see Joe Biden thinking, here's a man in his 60s who's
Right.
there arguing about this Second Amendment, and maybe we'll
Right.
get into
Uh-huh.
the Bill of Rights. We'll see.
Yeah, Mariah,
But-
no
Right.
doubt. Thank you.
When we were talking about that, Glenn, we didn't have the modern machinery that you have today. We didn't have
Right.
We didn't have computer machines. We didn't have electronic mail. We didn't have
Right.
the wheel or fire.
Right.
We didn't have all of these new
Oh, God.
Right.
fangled machines.
When you and Joe were young.
Right, and that's why the
Yeah, reset the joke because he talked over himself and you were giggling over his bit.
Second
Right.
Amendment may have made sense long ago, but now there are many reasons you should not have. You can't fight your government today with a musket. And
Well,
that's-
let me ask you this, Wilfred, because yesterday was a big day. The president came out and was talking about, you can't beat the United States. Are you there? Hello. Are you there?
Hello?
Other side of the phone. Other side of the phone.
I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, thank you.
I'm listening. Of course.
Of course you are. Yesterday he talked about what you need to fight. What you need. What are you doing? What are you dragging it across the floor? Hello. Anyway, yesterday
Yeah, it's killing the
he
bit.
said that you're going to need nukes to fight the government, and yet at the same time he's been saying that the January 6th thing was the biggest assault in American history on our
Yeah, but it was ineffective.
government. How
And they were unarmed.
can
I mean, that we know of. I mean, there were people with handguns and they took stuff from cops. But if they'd marched up the steps with lots of AR-15s, there would have been a lot of blood spilt on the steps of the Capitol. It would have been awful. Dum-dum.
the grandmother who was convicted yesterday for the Capitol insurgency, how is that the biggest threat if you can never beat the government without nuclear weapons?
Yes, I've knocked over a candle, but
Because you can murder people in the process. So we should have just shrugged off 9/11? Because you didn't destroy the country by blowing up 2 buildings with planes, right? Right, Glenn? So we shouldn't worry about that. I don't even understand why we had a Muslim ban then. Why we wouldn't let anybody from Yemen or Saudi Arabia come over and learn how to fly without landing? Why even bother have rules around that? Why even bother vetting people? They don't have nukes. They can't do anything.
But let me answer that quickly.
Okay.
Grandmothers are
It's almost over.
incredibly dangerous.
Oh, God. This is so fucking boring. And by the way, Biden compares Second Amendment to nuclear weapons and gun control speech. Crazy is what it says. Here's what's crazy. You want to know what was crazy, Glenn? That you thought this was funny. God damn, this is brutal. P.S. Tomorrow he'll be attacking The Daily Show for not being funny.